Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. Glad you're with me. KJRadio.com is where you can find out more about us. Get the show on demand 24/7. You can also contact us at 844-551-8255. That is by phone. 844-551-8255. Where do I want to start? I want to start with what's being described as a sexless business arrangement. Have you heard this? This is the latest spin on the Harvey Weinstein saga. That's what they're now saying about his marriage to Georgina Chapman, the absolutely stunningly beautiful fashion designer, whom Harvey Weinstein married about, I think, 2004. They're calling it a sexless business arrangement because apparently Harvey Weinstein knows a lot about fashion. Or, no, Georgina Chapman knows a lot about making movies. I guess maybe Georgina Chapman was making all of the wardrobes for the Harvey Weinstein movies. I have no idea. What type of business arrangement could these two have had? I'll tell you this. If I were Shrek, a.k.a. Harvey Weinstein, I would love to have a business arrangement with Georgina Chapman. Was she eye candy? Was she only to be on his arm during the shoots? I remember the first time I saw one of the things where it was a red carpet thing and she walks over and joins Harvey after he's taking his picture. And I was like, who is that dish? Who just joined this guy? Is she a model? Is she one of the people that he messed over or whatever? Turns out she was, ironically. A sexless business arrangement. Is there a lawyer in the house? Can someone please explain to me why a mogul like Harry Weinstein, who, and let's face it, you don't have to be a beautiful dude, a handsome dude to find yourself a dish in Hollywood, a.k.a. Billy Joel, a.k.a. Lyle Lovett. I mean, some of these guys are trolls that have married some very beautiful women. I get it. It's the money, it's the power, it's the allure of success. I understand it. But now to define it as a sexless business arrangement? Oh, and by the way, you've got 2 kids. Was it in vitro? What in the world is going on here? Why are we redefining this? That's the question I'm asking of the audience. Why suddenly are we saying, well, Harvey was in a sexless business arrangement with his beautiful wife, a trophy wife, in fact, accomplished woman over in her own right, and they have 2 kids. What are they saying? Are they telling us that Georgina Chapman needed Harvey Weinstein? For what? His money? For the fruit of his loins? What did they need? What did she need him for? This is an accomplished woman in Hollywood. Gorgeous. This woman could be dropped in the middle of the Sahara Desert and they would build a city around her. Holy Cleopatra. What are we talking about here? What exactly was Harvey saying? What are his spokespeople? What is the media trying to tell you? This is a quiz. This is a pop quiz at the Kevin Jackson University, the Blacksburg University. Kevin Jackson, chancellor, professor. It's a pop quiz. What are they telling you? It's a sexless business arrangement. You guys, you want to chime in here, fellas? What are you thinking? Because if you're thinking about this right, you might be asking yourself, do they want us to have sympathy that Harvey has entered into this sexless business arrangement with this stunningly beautiful woman whom he cannot have access to at his home, in the privacy of his home, where he cannot pleasure himself on his own plants in the privacy of his home, or ask his wife to help him watch him take showers, or whatever it is that he would have her to do? He couldn't ask her to do that because they were in a sexless business arrangement with 2 children whose name ends in Weinstein. Okay? I'm just saying. So Harvey, without having sex with this gorgeous woman who sleeps, in the room next to him? Not next to him in his own bed? I don't know. I don't inquire about such things. But whatever the arrangement was, Harvey was deprived. He needed to go out on his own. And they also want you to believe that him writing adultery and these shenanigans into his contract only goes to validate his sexless business arrangement. See, he had to get his company involved because Georgina Chapman, the lovely, beautiful, gorgeous, Cleopatra-esque Georgina Chapman, has decided in our sexless business arrangement that the sexless part will be enforced. I am forced to write into my agreement with the Weinstein Company, a company that I founded, that I may go out from time to time and indulge myself in these sexual fantasies and what have you. And the company goes, we understand because you've got this sexless business arrangement with this gorgeous woman, as opposed to Harvey saying finding a woman that loved him and cared about him. I don't know. Here I thought Georgina gave him 2 children. Maybe that was proof enough that she loved and cared about him. Apparently not. Not in Hollywood. He had to have a sexless business arrangement. So what he did was he had a sexless business arrangement, and then with his company, he had a sex business arrangement. I get it. I see how Hollywood works. He formed this one union, if you will, an agreement. Hey, gay people, by the way, you should take note. You can do this on your own. You don't have to be married. Okay, so they've got that. Then he says, you know what, but I need a sex business arrangement that I'll form through my company. See, that's how they do things in Hollywood. They have to legalize what they're planning to do. So Harvey was ready to go. The women were complicit. What he was saying to his company is, look, I got these babes. They throw themselves at me. They're okay with me doing whatever I choose to do. They don't say anything. The women's movement, ha, 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 ha. I laugh in its face. So right into my contract, this sex business arrangement, and we're all good. I'll just pay off a few that complain from time to time, and things will be good. And oh, by the way, this will garner me a lot of sympathy because people will understand that I was in a sexist business arrangement with Georgina. See, that's how Hollywood works. I know, folks, we in the real world are going, what? What are you talking about? I can't just be, as a guy, I can't feel like I got a shot at a girl like Georgina Chapman. Now I got to find out it's a sexless business arrangement. Doggone it, there's my bubble. Got bursted right before my very eyes. We'll be back, folks. You're listening to the Kevin Jackson Show.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville. Can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. Glad you're with me. We think we produce one of the funniest shows on the internet, and we'd love for you, well, it's not just the internet, but one of the funniest shows out there, but on our internet side, where you can download the segments and what have you, not listening through live stream, we'd like you to promote them. So please do go to kjradio.com and do that. If you want to talk to me, reach out on Facebook, Tea Party Community. You might go to teapartycommunity.org versus .com. We had some issues with the site, but get on there and chat with us. We'd love to have you there. And Facebook. I hate to bring these guys up, but Facebook and Twitter, I'm available there too. Whew. Anyway, lots to talk about. My producers are still trying to figure out how Harvey Weinstein had a sexless business arrangement with Georgina Chapman, and they have 2 children together. And I said, y'all are trying to get all up in the man's business. Yeah, I don't know either, but how do you do it? Is it any of our business how they decided to copulate? Maybe they were like snakes. Maybe they did it in a petri dish. Who knows? I don't even know if they are his children. Maybe that's what they're telling us. Maybe that's the story. Maybe, Harvey, it's been years of angst. No, it predated their marriage. We can't use that as an excuse. I don't know. Maybe the idea of a sexless business arrangement between Harvey Weinstein and Georgina Chapman is a farce. Because I'm going to tell you what, if Kevin Jackson marries Georgina Chapman, we're consummating the marriage. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Isn't that what married people do? Okay, hide the kids. Just talking about marriage and, coupling. Gwyneth Paltrow, when she got divorced, what did she call it? She called it a voluntary decoupling or like what was the word she used? Like happy decoupling or something. What a weirdo. And Brad Pitt was ready to fight Harvey Weinstein over this weirdo. But Brad, glad you saved your knuckles, dude. Oh, man, the sexual harassment that is now being exposed. I think it's 33 women now that they know about. Trust me when I tell you. Trust and believe, people. There's at least 100. At least. You don't get to Harvey Weinstein. Look, find a picture. Find every movie Harvey Weinstein ever made and look at the list of stars. Okay? Anybody that he even interviewed, find them. Find the ones that he was going to make a movie about and the women ended up not being in the movies. They chose another actress. Find those women. Get their stories. It's hundreds. I'm telling you, it's at least 100 if it's not hundreds, period. Right? Come on, we're not that naive. We know there's more. Guy's a predator beyond belief. And I keep coming back to this idea of how many people knew. I mean, they knew this. Hollywood was giving us hints, just subliminal in various pictures, in TV shows, in award shows. And Harvey would sit out there and laugh. Ha, 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 ha. You don't have the guts to say anything. Good one. What was the guy's name? MacFarlane. Good one, Seth MacFarlane. That subtle shot at me. Then Meryl Streep gets up there. Harvey's God. You're right, Meryl. I am. Too bad you're not cute enough for me to show you just how much of a god I am. He got covered. He was covered. I mean, you couldn't plot his coverage better if you were demonic and you were Dr. Evil and went, okay, I'm going to sexually harass and rape women for decades. Now I need to provide cover. I'll befriend Democratic presidents. I'll have all my charity work touch every star that comes out. I'll donate to their charities, and I will work with the administrators. I will make sure that all of my people are compensated so well, and I'll get them into debt so they have to have my paycheck. I'll pay them more than they'll ever make anywhere else. And all the other things. What would I would leave something out, and the forensic people would go, Kevin was almost there, but he forgot this one thing. And apparently Harvey did. What did he forget? I don't know. Did he get just too big for his britches, as they say in the country? I don't know. Was it Rose McGowan that did it? I don't know. But I know this. The cat's out of the bag. And the Democrats, I mean, this is so big because it has that political. See, if it didn't have the political link, it wouldn't be quite the story, right? It wouldn't be quite there. But it's got that political thing. It's got all these Democrats, hardcore Democrat, a bundler for Obama, major donor to Democrats, supporter of all their charities. This dude hasn't been spotted within 100 miles of a Republican or a conservative. He hated us. He made movies against us, movies against the cops. He hates everything we stand for because we would have exposed him. Oh, yeah. Give yourselves a pat on the back, conservatives, those people are not generally in our midst unless their left is hiding out. And don't misunderstand me. Conservatives have our issues. We do. But we're not like Harvey. We will get help. We'll try. We will acknowledge our failings and our shortcomings. Hey, speaking of which, these sexual harassment people, these leftists, the DNC plotted fake sexual harassment against Donald Trump. They plotted this. This is a WikiLeaks leak. I guess I don't need to say the leak, but it's a WikiLeak. It says this. This was an email. Just talked to Jackie. Apparently, because we're talking about sexual harassment, the defamation risk is really high, but he hasn't been litigious yet. So this is a letter that came from WikiLeaks where they were saying, you know what? We might try the sexual harassment angle against Trump, even though it could backfire. We could get a defamation suit, but he hasn't sued yet. Now, the reason why they didn't do it is because they looked at Trump's record of suing and said, you know what? He will likely sue us. But they were still debating it. Would it hurt the campaign? Is it good? Is it bad or whatever? But they were plotting against Trump. No, well, I want you to understand. While the left knows, not just is knowing, the left knows presently as we speak, as in present tense, right this minute. They know that there are sexual predators in their midst. They know who they are. How many of these people have said this? There are other people who have done these things. I'm waiting on somebody else. We talked about Terry Crews, who gets grabbed in his crotch by a guy in front of his wife and does nothing. He doesn't even say anything. He just kind of, whatever. I tell you what, grab my crotch and watch what happens. See if I say something. I mean, it amazes me that these people are in our midst and they don't want to speak out. Corey Feldman still hasn't said who's molested him. He cleared Michael Jackson, but he hasn't said who's molested him. Why? Why haven't these others spoken out?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. A friend of mine sent me a graphic, and it said something that toxic mothers are far worse than absentee fathers. And I thought to myself, toxic mothers are bad, no doubt about it. But what makes a mother toxic could be the fact that the father left. Now, we can argue which comes first, chicken or the egg. I don't know. Don't care. But I want to focus on the toxic mother part right now because I was having a separate conversation with one of my friends, and we were talking about these crazy black chicks that we watched these videos, and it came from I was looking at the what they call it, the knockout gang videos, and then I started seeing all these videos of crazy black women just going nuts. Not, catching their guy cheating, but just like in one case, a security guard at one of these little strip malls. There was a shooting or something that happened inside, and he was getting people out who were creating problems. Maybe it was the kids were bothering the vendors, and his job is to get people out. So he was kicking people out. And as he's kicking people out, he kicks out this girl, this woman, who's got a couple of kids, one of them on her hip, and she just goes in a cursing tirade. I mean, got a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a baby on the hip. And she's just MF this and you MF and you B and you this. And she's just cursing this man up one side and down the other. And the security guard is a black dude, big black dude. He's like, whatever. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, just get your butt out of here. So he's kicking him out. And there's people gathered around, and there's kids playing all over the place, just running around. And she's still just cursing. And I'm going to come back here. I'm going to shoot. She's threatening to kill him. And he's like, yeah, whatever. Okay, fine. And so, and I'm thinking, the whole time I'm thinking of many thoughts go through your head like, okay, so black chicks are always wondering, why is it that, black men are not marrying black women? Well, that was one of my thoughts that went through my head. And that's not to say that white women don't get crazy too, but there's another layer that comes with a black woman. And I think a lot of people know this. This isn't Kevin Jackson coming up with stuff. This is the truth. And so there's that. But I'm looking at these kids and I'm going, how many generations do I know where black women have acted like that? And what I call a toxic mother towards their children. Now, part of it, I'll forgive them. The frustration of not having a man, somebody who can help and be a disciplinarian and a father and all that. I get that if there's anybody that's suffering through that, it's the black community. And it's been happening since the 60s. It got put on steroids in the 60s and 70s. And now we are where we are, where 70+% of black kids are born out of wedlock and don't have two parents in the household. Single mother families outweigh whole families in the black community. And that's pretty sad. It's actually pretty pathetic. So I want to ask people in general, certainly women, ask yourself, would you be a little bit more, would you be more anxious? Would you have issues if you only, if you didn't have that significant other? What would that do to increase your problems in the community? Your problems in your own family, things like this. And by the way, many white women are beginning to experience this as society goes a different direction. Has been, shifting to leftism. So this isn't limited to blacks, but it's just a problem that is more glaring in the black community. I want to be clear about that. So here's what this article says. Even the most chill relationships between mothers and daughters have bumps in the road. It's pretty much impossible to be on the same page as the people who raised you, especially as you get older. Now, I find that statement interesting because I wasn't on the same page as my grandparents in many ways. They raised me like they were Democrats, but they raised me as a conservative. And I saw the difference, but I also recognized the gap in our, how we grew up, and I could forgive their ignorance on the subject. But they raised me in the right way, the way that they were raised. So I don't disagree. And from a political standpoint, they taught me how to look at things objectively, even though they couldn't. So I can't tell you, I can say, yeah, there were differences in us, but the core values that they taught me, we were equally yoked. But this author says, no, as you get older, you're going to differ with your parents. No, as you get older, you actually come closer to your parents in thought process. That's what I believe. What was funny is that if you think about it from my perspective, I was actually more like the parent. I know that sounds weird, but politically speaking, I was. I could see how my grandparents were raising me. And over the years, even though my grandmother never in her life voted Republican, I saw her understanding it, even though she couldn't rationalize the conservative point of view. and how she really was one, and she shouldn't vote for a Democrat. It was ingrained in her to vote for a Democrat regardless. Next sentence, this person says, but if your conflicts with your mother seem to go beyond what's normal and into an area that leaves you feeling sad, helpless, or bad about yourself, then the two of you may have a toxic relationship. Now, toxic relationships can happen to anybody. Father to son, father to mother, whatever. You get what I'm saying, all the different combinations. I'm not going to go through them. Well, there's nephew to cousin, and no, just kidding. So they can happen to anybody. But with parents, particularly biological, it really is an interesting pull, because it's like I saw a show with a lady whose father killed the mother of the child, but she said, even though he's on death row, I feel something for him. I feel a sense of loss. And I understood what she was saying, given that my dad was a deadbeat. But there was a point in my life where I was like, but I still want to know him. Now, when he died, I didn't care about it at the time. I was like, but at that point, he just burned too many bridges. So I didn't care. But maybe deep down in my psyche, I still do. But I can't find it. But we had a toxic relationship of sorts. So they say a toxic relationship is based around anger, emotional manipulation, or other negative and hurtful feelings instead of mutual support. This is what's lacking in these relationships, mutual support, whether it's the mother supporting the kids in these single parent relationships or the kids supporting the mom, etc. And who teaches that? Who teaches you to say to your son, when your mom is sick, she does a lot for you. You at least have to go and inquire to see what's happening with her, or she's going to feel like it's a one-way street. It takes a parent, another parent, to say to a child, learn that empathy. Learn how to see what your mom's doing. Or mom says to a child, go check on your dad. He works hard to make sure you got baseball practice or you did so-and-so. This is what, these whole relationships do. You get to fill in the gaps and put the puzzle pieces together for each other, and that's missing. And so I watch these crazy videos. If you have some time on your hands, watch one of these crazy videos of these black chicks going off, whether they're fighting in I watch one where the two of them go off in a chicken joint or some restaurant over nothing. It was the lady who was working in the place was completely disrespectful, and the other girl called her out on it, who had a baby with her, and those two go to blows. Watch these videos. Don't misunderstand me. I've seen crazy but white girls go to blows as well, but not a fraction. It's a fraction of the number that you can find on YouTube. And guess what? As a culture, black people are all too happy to put it out there, but then want to get mad at you when you bring it up. It says, they go on to say, you can't dump family. Your family's there. You can't dump them. So, and nor should you. But we have a lot of that going on now. I watch these shows. I don't talk to my mother because, she left when I was picking out my wedding dress. That's all it took. So I'm not exonerating absentee fathers. Absentee fathers, as far as I'm concerned, you're one of the worst people on the planet if you're not taking care of your kid. I'm not saying absentee in the sense of you no longer live with your babies, with your former significant other. I'm not saying that. I'm saying when you don't actively do your part to parent, even if you're, it's like you could be in the military, deployed. You still want to parent. You still get the kids on the Skype or whatever they use, and you say, hey, your mom's telling me you're doing this, you're doing that. You can't do this. You back the play of the custodial parent or whatever. But we should be more engaged because we're creating these toxic mothers, and nobody's addressing them. No, I don't believe people are really understanding how to help these people become better human beings and better parents.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, all you non-toxic parents. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. You know what? So I go fishing. Well, I went fishing with a friend of mine. It was 30 guys, and a friend of mine, very wealthy man, he paid for all of us to go. We had this great trip near Alaska, and I'm watching a couple of guys brought their sons because, we had a couple of openings at the end where some people couldn't make it. So the gentleman said, hey, bring your kiddos. And so a couple of guys got to bring their sons. I wish I could have brought my son, but he was in school. But anyway, so we go up there and I'm watching these dads with their sons. I'm watching all of us interact, all the guys, and we're having a great time. And then I'm watching the fathers with their sons, and they're going out on the boat together. We come back and they're rooming together, and you watch their interactions, shooting pool. Pardon me. I met Rick Santorum's son there, and you could tell the kid just warmed to me, and I could see that Rick was very hard on him. He wants him to grow up to be a good kid, and he's hard on him. He actually said, I think we had to all say a little thing about ourselves, and Rick's son used a curse word. It wasn't a bad one. It was like, dang, but he said the other one or something like that. And Rick, you just see the look on his face like, can't believe he said that. And I'm not kidding you. In the most stilted way you can imagine, Rick's like, comes over, I'm shooting pool with his son, and Rick's like, yeah, well, you didn't have to say dang during the presentation. And the son was like, well, I just felt like it, it was like I was talking about something I'm passionate about. And then Rick's just like, well, in this very stilted way, you shouldn't say. It was so sanctimonious, it was funny. And so I was like, I didn't want to get in the middle of father-son deal there, but I said, well, Rick, we all make mistakes. And I kind of left it at that. And his son, he gravitated to me because I think he sensed this coolness about me that was like, I'm going to be a parent. I'm a parent to my kids, but I understand that you got to clip the wings and let them go, and you're going to always agree. Anyway, it was but it was interesting to watch him because not growing up with my dad, I felt this sense of longing. I felt happy for them and sad for myself in a very deep place I can't describe. And I just hope no kid has to go through that. Watching, having gotten so many children adopted, I feel like a liberator of kids from that sense of that what they're missing. Now, you're going to always miss it with your biological parents, but, filling that void is important. So with that said, I hope you guys support what we do from time to time, get a couple of duckies our way because we help a lot of people. I want to go into Trump's accomplishments. And there was a list, and I thought to myself, wow, this is a really long list. Some of these I've forgotten, so I want to go through some of these. This is amazing. So first he appointed Judge Gorsuch, right? We all know, there's nobody that can argue against that. Even leftists go, wow, he picked a great guy. 9 Tomahawk missiles for Syria for gassing innocents. 59. He exited the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Illegal immigration is down 70%, the lowest in 17 years. Now, I bet you some of this stuff is old because I bet these numbers are even higher. Consumer confidence highest since 2000. The index that they used was 125.9. 7.6. I don't know what it is now, but my bet is it's higher. Mortgage applications for new homes risen to a 7-year high. A range from 7% to 24% tariff on lumber from Canada. I mentioned this. I didn't know the numbers, but I knew he started protecting America's lumber industry and addressing Canada's trade imbalance with America. In one fell swoop, he was able to do that. Bids for the border wall are underway. Here's one that the left hates, that he pulled out of the Paris Accord. Lopsided Paris Accord. He got the Keystone Pipeline approved. NATO allies boosted their spending by 4.3% and have had to make up their lack of funding that we've been paying the whole time. Allowing the VA to terminate bad employees. Now that's one that, who can argue against that? How can you have a bureaucracy in place that's meant to help the citizens and perhaps our finest citizens, the people that fought for us, and you have a bureaucracy in place that won't let you fire incompetents that are dealing with these folks? And then you say, well, we give them the VA. It's the same thing with our education system. Our kids, taxpayers send our kids to a school where we expect greatness, and instead we get English as a second language, and half of them get molested and are pregnant, and they want to tell us that they're doing the best they can. That's just nonsense. Anyway, allowing private health care choices for veterans. One of my good friends, a Navy SEAL, Jay Redmond, he when he started going to the VA doctor after he got shot up in Fallujah, Jay said, his wife said, we're not going to you guys. You don't know what you're doing. You'll kill my husband. They went to private facilities thereafter. Good for Jay. Stock market, all-time high. We all know those numbers, and it's still climbing. The stock market will hit 23,000 easy this year. Probably will hit 24, maybe even 25,000. Nah, won't do 25, but it'll hit 24, 23. No question. Let's see what else we got. More than 1 million new jobs created in his first 6 months. That's just an amazing stat. Considering when you look at what Obama lost in his first 6 months, which was almost 5 million jobs. It's either 4 million or 5 million. Median household income is at a 7-year high. Let's see. China agreed to American import of beef. It's a big deal. An entire new market has been opened to our cattle ranchers. An entire new market. A market that got shut down. I don't know what in the time it was, but I know it was around some tariff issues or whatever. And Trump opened up that market. Let's see, what else we got? $9 billion saved in regulation rollbacks. I think that number's, $89 billion. And I think that number's way low as well. They said, I saw a number that said $2.3 trillion. But right here they say $89 billion. Rollback of regulation to boost coal mining. He did that. And not only did he do that, and they may mention this down a little bit later, but he then had coal delivered to China, and they sent back the North Korean boat. Moab for ISIS. ISIS is on the run and is being destroyed. That's the truth. The next one. The travel ban was reinstated to protect all Americans. Next, an executive order for religious freedom. Then he restarted NASA. Here's another one. $600 million cut from the UN peacekeeping budget. That's a rounding error for the U.S. anymore, but it's still $600 million taxpayers don't have to come up with. He targeted MS-13 gangs, called them out by name. Started deporting violent illegal immigrants, mostly gang leaders, and dared the left to challenge him on his policy. By the way, just learn France is doing the same. Macron is taking the worst of the immigrants, not even illegal, and sending them back to their countries of origin. Donald Trump signed 55 bills into law as of 8/25. He created a commission on child trafficking. He created a commission on voter fraud. And he created a commission on opioid addiction. The one on voter fraud I find interesting, given that the Pennsylvania Secretary of State just stepped down because it was found he let illegals vote in the election. Giving power to the states to drug test unemployment recipients. Unemployment at its lowest rate since May of 2007. He started the Historically Black Colleges and Universities Initiative that more than 4x funded the HBCUs who were suffering mightily, failing in fact. And, we talk about what Barack Obama did. Barack Obama almost put those HBCUs out of business, which for the record, I'm not mad. I don't think we need a historically black college or university. I think we should just go to colleges and universities. But if you're going to keep an HBCU, make it successful and make it work the way it should, not to be divisive against the country, but to be encouraging of the country. I think that's what President Trump is doing. We got a few more of these, but we're out of time. We'll be back. Keep it here, folks.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's a Kevin Jackson Show. Glad you guys are with me. Hey, are you going to be checking out Black Panther? The movie's coming out. You guys going to watch Black Panther? It's got Chadwick Boseman in it. That kid is a good actor. He did James Brown. Have you guys seen that James Brown? Get on up. Get up. Get on up. Get up. Get on up. Get on the scene. It's like a sex machine. And James Brown, that is a heck of a movie. You've got to see it. This dude becomes James Brown. Maybe Jamie Foxx playing Ray or Denzel Washington playing who do you play? Malcolm X. That's as close as you get to just, he captured James Brown. Serious business. You got to see it. It's more than worth it. Anyway, he plays he was also in a movie with Kevin Costner. Plays a good role there. Good guy. One of my favorite actors. Now I'm going to find out he's a leftist and I got to quit watching his movies. But right now I don't know. So I got to recommend it. But he plays a supervillain. A superhero. Black Panther. And it's funny because it's sort of based on the society where apparently black folks may be getting the shaft. And he comes in as a superhero. Straightens out of all the white folks in the future. And there you go. But it's interesting that they bring it out now. And I'm curious how it's going to get covered. Like, will the cops be oppressors and who will be the leaders of the oppressive movement? Is it going to be Democrats? Or is it going to be a bunch of rich white guys that all look like Donald Trump? Because you know how Hollywood is. But yeah, Black Panther coming out. I'm not going to see it. I don't support Hollyweird in any way. I don't even like watching movies at home, to be honest with you. I will not leave my TV on a channel for leftists. Like I came in one day, I did it by accident, and Tamron Hall's show was on. I turned it off immediately. I don't want Nielsen rating these people based on, because the cable companies now, they know exactly where the TV is, if you're on it or what have you. So I want no credit given to anything leftist. If I'm watching the show, great. When I'm not watching the show, boop, back on Fox. Speaking of which, I think we can impact, and I think we should, impact positively, what's his name? Jimmy Fallon's show. If you get a chance at late night, put your channel on Jimmy Fallon's show. And let me tell you why. Jimmy Kimmel is a piece of work. I can't stand this guy now. He used to be lefty. Used to be a center guy. And I even thought at one point he was a little leaning conservative. And it turns out this guy is a hardcore leftist. They've gotten to him. I don't know when he got infected but he got too close to one of the ticks on the left, and they started sucking the blood out of him and left him a virus, and now he's a lefty. And he doesn't care if we watch his show. He said it. I don't care what these people do, whatever. And I read a report that he lost 30% of his conservative audience at some point. And I was thinking, why hasn't he lost 100%? Who would still watch this guy? The only people that should be watching Jimmy Kimmel are people that clip stupid things that he says. You know, clip the stuff, clip the show. That's it. You shouldn't be watching Jimmy Kimmel. But Jimmy Fallon was asked, why doesn't he, do more on Trump? He's like, why? He goes, I'm really not that interested in politics. I'm interested in pop culture. I'll get political, but I'm not going to beat up on Trump. Now they're saying, oh, well, his ratings are way down and this, that, and the other. They may very well be. So what I said is, as conservatives, we have a guy who says, I'm not going to get into the fray. I'm just going to, do what I do and let the chips fall where they may. I say let's support his show. I'm going to leave my TV on Jimmy Fallon in the evenings. I am. And I'm going to do a petition to support Jimmy Fallon. He's one of the only guys who's not beating up on Trump. Now, I don't know what he did on Weinstein. He actually did have a quip on Weinstein. It was pretty funny. But I don't know, I'm not going to tell him what to write for his show. But what I do appreciate is that he has the guts to say, and he said this publicly, I'm not jumping on Trump just because you guys think it's, the interesting thing to do. He doesn't find it particularly interesting, and for the record, neither do I. If Trump does something crazy, for example, when he was throwing was he throwing napkins or paper towels to the Puerto Ricans? That's funny. I mean, that to me, it was worthy of ridicule. And, I haven't talked about it because I've been too busy with other things. But if I was writing comedy, I would definitely write, I'm sitting there looking for some bread and Donald Trump throws me some napkins. What am I going to do? What am I wiping off? My face if I don't have anything to eat. Throw me a chicken, then throw me the napkins. All right? There's comedy all over. And I would have ridiculed him in a fun way, but they, the times I did see it, everybody's, oh, look at Donald Trump. He's, acting like he's king and he's throwing them paper towels or whatever it was. They could non-consumables. I get it. They're hungry. But at some point, maybe he's an optimist and saying the food's coming. I mean, they usually give you the napkins before they give you the meal, don't they? So maybe that was what was coming next. But I do want us to at least consider supporting this guy. We're going to put out a petition that says support Jimmy Fallon, and here's why. And I hope you will. The thing that we have to understand as conservatives is it's very easy to go, hey, that's a great thing that guy did over there. For example, there were a couple of guys on teams that stood alone. Are very few people, especially young black men. Did we find out who these men were and get on their Twitter feeds and say, thank you very much for standing up? Have we congratulated all the blacks in the NFL who haven't taken a knee? And it's overwhelming numbers. And have we said, these are the black folks that represent America? And on and on. We don't do that. And that's our problem, guys. That's part of marketing, is to say, it's easy to let the hero just stand alone. These guys aren't looking for trophies. They're not looking for much. But they would like to know that the conservative movement is out there watching and saying, you know what, I appreciate you. I've yet to see any article of significance that says, here are all the people who stood, along their team, especially with the teammates like San Francisco. This is a guy that stood alone. Let's congratulate these guys. That's how you build more warriors. For the record, many, many more people stood in the NFL than didn't stand. I estimated it's roughly 950 blacks who stood while other ones took a knee at the height at 200. And what have we done to thank these guys and to say, we get you, we understand you, and let the NFL know those are the guys we're watching the game for. Back in a bit.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Kevin Jackson here. KJRadio.com. You can get the show on demand 24/7, and I hope you do. So I talked earlier a little bit about supporting the NFL players who didn't take a knee. We're going to have some memes going out on that to remind people that not everybody thinks the way these leftists want you to believe these people think. There are lots of blacks, the overwhelming number of blacks, not only in NFL, but in America, do not buy into the nonsense that gets perpetrated by the handful of those who say, oh, this is the way it is in the black community. The majority of blacks in this country raise, their families well. Whether they're with their significant other or not, they take care of their kids. They're gainfully employed. They contribute to this nation and so on and so forth. But it's that handful of blacks that get all the press. The ones that want to beat up cops, kill cops, sue when people get shot and so on and so forth, and act like the world is against them. Don't believe the hype. Just because they vote Democrat doesn't mean they're completely stupid. They've just been sold a bill of goods in many cases. And believe it or not, there are a lot of them who do not vote Democrat. Don't believe that hype either. Many of them don't think like these idiotic Democrats, these clowns. So we want to support the people that show that, that the narrative is a lie. And we've got to do that. I want to move over to the NFL a little bit more. Yeah, we talked about some of the things, the antics of people. Certain people sat and, they kneeled but put their hands over their hearts. Now, I chuckle at those guys because they think that we're stupid. That what they're trying to say is, I support my flag and my country, but I kneel for my brothers who are, killed by cops. You can't kneel for a lie. Look, if you want to kneel because you're mad at Planned Parenthood for killing black babies in crazy amounts of numbers, I'm right there with you. I'm kneeling with you. I don't necessarily believe you should make it as a political statement, against in terms of the football league. But if you want to tell me I'm mad at Planned Parenthood for killing black babies at an outrageous percentage, and I'm going to kneel for that, that's not going to negatively impact your sport. First of all, most of these abortionists aren't watching the sport anyway. They're playing, footsies with each other at some gay bar. But, if you want to kneel, again, I'm not condoning any type of political statement, but if you want to kneel for something that's not anti-American that's not anti-flag, anti-veteran, anti-American taxpayer, then do it. Tell me I'm kneeling because because kneeling is prayer. Kneeling means I'm giving myself up to something greater than I. And the idea of young black thugs getting killed, dealing heroin or stealing from bodegas or resisting arrest, I'm not kneeling down for that. I'm never kneeling down for that. But anyway, so yeah, a few players left. The NFL, I was thinking, and I'm sure some of you were, was going to take a hard stance against these clowns. I thought the NFL was going to say, look, you kneel, it's over, whatever Jerry Jones did. And for the record, it's only a handful of people now. It's really down to a small amount. It's almost embarrassing, to be honest with you. So you've got these guys kneeling, and then, what happened? The numbers were down. I don't go around counting stadium attendance and things like that, but I would really love to look at stadium attendance week upon week and say, here are the numbers, and watching it go down. It's just too much research for my team, but I bet you it's going down every week, and it's going to continue to drop. And I'm looking at the ratings, and I'm seeing that they're not very good. I don't know really what to believe, because it's fake news that's telling you, well, it's flat or it's dipped a bit. How do you keep putting spin on something that you know is going down? So it's dipping, it's dipping, it's dipping, it's dipping. And, I'm sitting here going, when does it end? So I was asking myself, what would happen if the NFL laid out this new strategy that says you don't stand for the national anthem, you get fined, $250,000 or whatever, and you're going to get suspended for a game? I think it would end, honestly, right there. But if you were hardcore and you say you get suspended for one game plus $250,000 fine, you do it again, you get a $500,000 fine, and you're suspended for 2 more games. You do it a third time, you're out for the season, and you're fined $1 million. I think it's over. I think the league begins to recover. I think, look, at this point, I know there's a lot of us that aren't forgive and forget, but I think a bunch of us would forgive and forget. You kind of miss the sport. I don't really miss it, to be honest with you. I look at it as a big-time distraction. So I saw this thing that came out, and the guy's name is Anish Parekh, and he's responding to a guy, and he says, you disrespected us bad. I missed my son's game to watch you guys play. Absolutely crappy, not acceptable for Super Bowl team. And then Ricardo, he's saying this to a guy named Ricardo Allen, I guess, who plays for the team, the Atlanta Falcons. I'm just looking at the thing here. And Ricardo Allen responds back, you disrespected your son by skipping his game to become a fan at something you have no ties to. Get priorities right before coming at me. And I thought to myself, what? I don't know whether this guy, Ricardo Allen, who appears to play for the Falcons, I don't know whether he kneeled or whatever. I don't know what his stance was. But he's a black player. And I'll tell you this, what a great response. Because this guy Anish was he was just retweeting what another guy had put that said, I miss my son's game to watch you guys. And that's kind of the way I see football. Is I was investing so much time in this sport and not getting anything out of it. I mean, you can say, well, it's fun to watch. Yeah, as a former football player, I really liked the sport. I played it at one point in my life. Probably could have gotten into college and played it, but I just didn't want to. And then I became a fan because it's almost a rite of passage. You got to become a fan if you're a man. But then there came a point where I was like, this is a waste of my time. These guys don't even take it seriously. They lose a game, and it's like, yeah, what's up? Yeah, I lost. I remember losing a game when I was a player at anything, and I was mad. I was dejected. I was mad for me. I was mad for my team. Not in an angry way like y'all suck. And I wasn't hard on myself. It was like, why didn't we win? We're out here to win. It taught me competitive spirit. But I'm like, why bother? Anyway, let me get to these ratings real quick because we're going to run out of time. So they said it's down. Dip of 4% in their demo and a 3% decline in the total sets of eyeballs from the comparative non-adjusted results of the October 8th matchup between Kansas City and Houston. So the numbers are down, and they're going to remain down. And all the NFL has to do is just say, look, guys, you win. And I'm going to tell you something. I want the win. I don't know how you guys feel, but I'm a winner, and I want the win.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. So I mentioned Donald Trump's assault on leftism and how well it's going, and you're backing him up. And he gave a speech recently, and I forget where it was, but he talked about all the things we're talking about, not standing up for the flag, making America first. And he just went on. He condemned all of the things that Barack Obama was doing with Obamacare and why he was dismantling it, and DACA and all these other things, and how we have to get back to rule of law and get things back in kilter. And when people tell me things like, oh, it doesn't matter who's president, I say to you, look at the difference between what Barack Obama's done and what Donald Trump is doing, and then you tell me whether or not you think it matters who's the commander-in-chief. You look at what's going on in the conservative world where we are gaining a foothold back in all these different areas, and then you tell me it doesn't matter. Cultural war, civil war is underway right now. It is bigger. It is far worse. It kills more people. It has killed more people and has the potential to kill more people than the Civil War that was fought to free the slaves. And people don't notice it. How do you not notice this? The laws that are being passed. HIV in California, you don't have to tell anybody you have it anymore. They're trying to marginalize the gay lifestyle. I had some woman write to me, I'm not following your work anymore. You're a homophobe. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then she says, an article you wrote. And I go, what article? I couldn't figure it out. So I wrote an article about HIV, about cafe standards with cars, and about black families and how that's killing people, killing thousands of black people every year. And what are we concerned about? What is the nation concerned about? The handful of cops that shoot a black guy, bad black guy every now and then. And erroneously, which happens less than times lightning strikes. I'm just saying, then lightning kills. I mean, it's ridiculous. So, the number of times these things happen versus what is really happening in the world with black on black crime in general, the things that leftists do that let people die, like these so-called gun control things, the number of abortions. I mean, I could go on at how leftists kill more people than anybody on the planet. And these guys want to come at you with, look at this or look at that, with their feigned outrage. It's crazy. So when we look at what you get a guy like Donald Trump who finally fights back and says, you know what? Screw your nonsense, your leftism. You want to take a knee in the NFL? I want you fired. And what's wrong with that? You want to continually lie on NBC about me, Jimmy Kimmel? I want to shut you down. And I'm not shutting down your First Amendment. I'm shutting down your ability to just lie with immunity. I mean, these guys lie for the sake of lying. So we have a warrior. Now you tell me, would you prefer the last 8 years or would you prefer this 1 year that you've had with Donald Trump? If you're listening to this program, for the most part, 100%, I know you prefer the latter, including you brain dead moronic leftists who listen to this program. You're here for a reason. You want to learn. So I'm going to teach you. And I hope next year I don't have to call you a brain dead leftist moron. But Donald Trump makes a difference. And the legislation that he's done, I went through some of the things that he's doing, and I didn't even get to finish the list. Let's look at that list. Let's see. I think I got down to number 25 or something. But here's some other things he's done. Created a commission on, I talked about those. Giving power to states, let's see, unemployment. Created Women in the Entrepreneurship Act. He created an office for illegal immigrant crime victims. He reversed Dodd-Frank. He repealed the Department of Transportation ruling that would have taken power away from local governments for infrastructure planning. He ordered to stop crime against law enforcement. He didn't order to stop that. He ended the DAPA and DACA program. Essentially, he stopped companies from moving out of America by saying, you're going to get a tariff. He promoted businesses that create American jobs. He's encouraged the company to buy American and hire American. He's cutting regulations. 2 regulations must be cut for every regulation that you want to propose. The national debt decreased by $102 billion in the first 7 months. $78 billion has been promised reinvestment from major businesses like Exxon, Bayer, Apple, SoftBank, and Toyota. He denied the FBI a new building. $700 million were saved with the F-35 renegotiation. He negotiated the release of 6 U.S. humanitarian workers in Egypt. Signed an executive order to promote energy independence. He worked with Congress to pass more legislation in the first 100 days than any president since Truman. And keep in mind, with that legislation, they got to dump 2 other pieces. He refused his presidential paycheck and donates it to veterans. He donated $1 million to Harvey hurricane relief efforts, and he's taken a tough stance on North Korea. And you could go on. This is not the complete list. There's many other things that have been added since then. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. The stance on the NFL and what that does to permeate business is ridiculously crazy, what that's going to do to business. And he'll stay the course. You don't have to worry about him getting wishy-washy. I talked about the idea that he has put liberals on Front Street with the Harvey Weinstein thing because he was willing to forego, or I should say willing to take the bullets on misogyny. So look at what's happened since then. Donald Trump has said, fine, call me a misogynist. Has he apologized? Has he said, oh, you know what? I don't want to offend the women. Women, I love you and you're too, I may lose you. No, he said, call me whatever you want. I got better stuff to do. And then what happened? They get exposed. These leftists find out, suddenly our guy's the guy. Do you think Trump's going to let them live this down? Let me tell you, right now, there are people in the Trump camp strategizing on how to rub the noses, they are taking Trump's buttocks, perfuming it, and they're gonna give it away in Hollywood because they're gonna rub the noses of the left into Trump's butt. And if he can't be there, here's the perfume. Yeah, I came up with that on the fly. What y'all looking at? So Donald Trump is doing what he's supposed to be doing. He's showing leadership. He's telling people the conservative way is the way to go. Whether it's trade, whether it's foreign policy, whatever it may be, we're going to be out there actively promoting. And the people who would dare do harm to Americans, to people abroad who want better lives for themselves, their families, and their communities, we're going to support them. And we're not going to do it willy-nilly. We're not going to deploy our military the way Barack Obama did. We're going to be very judicious in where we put our resources. That's what you want from a commander-in-chief. I love watching this guy work. Cultural Marxism. That's what we've been going through. Let me play this clip so you guys can hear it, because we need to discuss it in its entirety.
At least at the beginning, was a blistering indictment of the cultural Marxism of the last 8 years, the cultural Marxism of the Obama administration, of the cultural Marxism that is permeating through the media. You know, when we're talking about we're not going to stand up and respect the flag, when we're just trying to destroy the family unit, right, when religion is being suppressed in this country, the president
How is
is
religion
speaking
being
to that.
suppressed, though? How is it?
Well, I mean, he spoke to it with the Johnson Amendment. This is a long-standing thing where...
Yeah, but that's a real serious issue, because if you don't agree with that religion coming into the public sphere like that, I mean, that's a public policy
Well, you can look at our
issue, right?
schools, for instance, where prayer is not acceptable, where the Pledge of Allegiance in some cases, even as close as New Jersey right here, is not acceptable. So there is a coordinated effort throughout society at this point in time to tackle patriotism, religion, and the family unit, and the president spoke to that at the beginning of this speech.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. I don't know who the guy was, but he was in Fox Business, and he nailed it. And that's why I keep telling you guys, I told you before, I said, look at the things that are being tackled, the things that we've been watching ourselves lose ground on. So the NFL kneelers. Can you imagine where we would be in that story if Barack Obama were president? Just ask yourself that question. What would we be talking about? Would there be more kneelers or less kneelers? You tell me. What do you guys think? More, of course, right? Yeah, these guys will be gaining steam. Black Lives Matter would be in the news every day, picketing and marching more and more, talking about this issue, but Trump squashed it. It's going away. It will go away. The left, they'll keep certain things, but it's going away. I promise you. This guy talked about the destruction of the family. He talked about the religious oppression. And he says it's a coordinated effort. And he couldn't be more right. It's been a coordinated effort to go after capitalists, to go after the military. Think about what the NFL kneelers represent. The idea that you're slapping America in the face, you're slapping the flag, or the anthem, and the veterans. And Donald Trump was able to push that back on them and make them eat it. That's genius. Take that, Marxism.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. So there were a group of college kids, and they met, typical college amphitheater type arrangement. And the bunch of them wearing MAGA hats went in and shouted down the leftist snowflakes that were putting on some sort of a seminar. So I want to play the clip. You have to know that going in because it's pretty much unintelligible except for one part. Now, I want you to understand there are hundreds of students in this thing, and probably 30 of them are all sitting in 2 rows, center stage, about, 15 feet back, say 8 rows, 10 rows back, and they're shouting down these leftist snowflakes. So here's the clip.
Other country other than this country, be as American as any of us, as you or I, and it is our job to give them the education that they deserve and the resources that they deserve.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. So, again, couldn't understand the beginning part of it. The leftist snowflakes are making a point. But eventually, the America First, you can hear Americans First crowd begins to take over. and disrupts it. Now, the beautiful thing here, however you want to look at it, is that you've got these kids who probably would never have thought to do something like that in the time of Obama. I can't recall a single incident where something like that occurred in the time of Barack Obama. Now, check with Charlie Kirk and his organization or Campus Reform, and maybe I'm wrong. But the majority of the 8 years of Barack Obama, we lost amazing ground, certainly the first 4 years. I think a resurgence occurred in the second 4 years when leftist kids started to go, you know what? This isn't working out. My brothers and sisters and friends have graduated and they don't have jobs. And so they started to make a transition. Now, as much as you hear about Antifa and all these other kids and stuff that are happening at colleges around the country, this is the type of thing that I think you're going to start to see more of. And as I said in the previous segment, ask yourself, why is this occurring? Ask yourself very simple questions. Look, folks, I'm no genius at this stuff. If Barack Obama were still president, do you believe that we would have a lot of these things happening? Do you believe that you'd be feeling the way you're feeling about America right now? Do you believe that these kids would feel empowered enough to go and start disrupting leftist events in college? This is, and by the way, they didn't do anything. They didn't threaten anybody. This isn't Antifa. This is a group of kids saying, we're going to start speaking up for ourselves. We're no longer going to let these colleges dominate with this stupid thought. And that's exactly what they've done. I could not be more proud. And I also want to play another clip. And this is a kid. His name is Naweed Tamas. He's an Indian kid. And he's talking about what happens, how he's being targeted by Antifa at his campus at Berkeley, that the college is doing nothing about it. But he's saying, I don't even care. He's like, they're not going to stop me. So here's the clip.
It's become socially acceptable at UC Berkeley for conservatives to be physically beaten, chased, and stalked. Just recently, Antifa actually had Campus Reform actually had an article about Antifa stalking me when I was grabbing dinner with friends. They posted my information online and my location to their 6,000 followers and attempted to plot against me. It's become so absurd that they're even protesting me having dinner. But with every attack, it shows the left is clearly desperate. Conservative students are saying enough is enough, and we are fighting back against them. We are breaking the shackles of leftist control over our university that for too long have robbed students from the opportunity of hearing a different perspective on campus. We're not going to be intimidated by their attacks. We're going to keep on fighting.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. I don't know. Did you hear that and start to smile a little bit? This is a kid. This is not some big Brutus-looking Indian kid. This is a typical college kid going, hey, enough is enough. And he's telling you what's happening on these campuses. See, you know what you hear on campus? Oh, the students, man, they're rowdy. The number of kids who participate in Occupy Wall Street or in Antifa or whatever is a minority of the students. Even at Berkeley, the majority of students, I won't say overwhelming, but the overwhelming majority of students on normal campuses, they don't like Antifa. They hate this stupid idea that millennials are considered snowflakes and on and on. These are kids that want an education and they want an opportunity. Now, let's think about Obama and what happened with college kids. College kids in 2008 could not have been more energetic for the political process than at any time in the history of this nation. Anybody disagree? You guys agree? I mean, you guys were in college at that time probably. So at that time, I know for a fact, I know what my son was at Wharton, and he was telling me, holy cow, Dad, people are goo-goo gaga over Barack Obama. It's crazy how much. So he worked the campaign just to see, to get a feel for it. He goes, the energy around this thing is unbelievable. He goes, Dad, I'm telling you right now, this dude's winning. And I knew it too. So fast forward 4 years, and we had the conversation, and he goes, the movement's gone. He's at Wharton now, and it's no Berkeley, but he's like, the movement's gone. Nobody cares about the guy. Now I want you to think about the opposite. I want you to think about Donald Trump. College kids were let's just say lukewarm. They certainly didn't hate him. It wasn't what the media was portraying. I think a lot of college kids voted for Trump. They abandoned Bernie, saw where Bernie got burnt, and he liked it. Bernie liked being burnt. He's a masochist. So he gets burnt. They transfer the vote to Trump, but it's lukewarm, right? Over this year, jobs are opening up. These guys are going to work. They're watching their peers now get jobs that they couldn't get under Obama. Good jobs. What do you think's going to happen in the next 3 years? More jobs or less jobs? Good jobs, not? Yes or no? Do you think these companies are going to be looking at internships and so on and so forth, bringing these people? The answer is yes. The short answer is yes. So as the economy improves over 4 years, you've got a whole group of students who've been who still have the muscle memory of Obama, and they're protesting and all that. But you have far more who have said, to heck with Obama. I want a job. I'm in the real world. I'm an adult. I'm now getting married. I got kids coming, blah, blah, blah. And thank God I got a job. I've been living in my grandmother's or my mother's basement or parents' basement for whatever length of time. I can now go back to work. I want you to think about the mentality of that person in 2018, in 2020. So 4 years goes by. Donald Trump's rocking it. People are getting work. The leftist lies. Could you have scripted any better the lies that have been exposed? Could you have scripted a WikiLeaks? Could you have scripted the DNC giving the answers to Hillary Clinton and you finding that out? Could you have scripted that we would start getting information about how crooked Comey was, that we didn't learn everything we were supposed to learn about the Clinton tarmac meeting or Hillary's servers or all the other crooked things that they've done, the bleach bit, the hammering of phones and so on and so forth? And then finally, Harvey Weinstein? Do you think this is going away in the next year? The answer is no, folks. So you got all this stuff lined up. By the time 2020 rolls around, I promise you, more and more will leak out about what the left has done. And you're going to watch Republicans and conservatives win in a landslide. That's what's going to happen. Donald Trump will get reelected in a landslide. He will bring over Latinos, blacks, women, and you name it. He's going to bring every special interest group, for the most part, is going to up the ante and give him at least 5 to 15 more points than they did before. And he's going to crush them. So what do you think's going to happen? And then little by little, his policies will start to take place. And it's your job to back it up. It's your job to get out there, start these businesses, start helping people, start showing that it is not about the government, it is about us. And suddenly, Antifa's gone. And you know what else you better do? You better be prepared to fight back. Because Antifa, who's, by the way, on November 4th says they're going to raise holy heck all over America. Okay, I dare you to come do it where Kevin Jackson lives. I'll put it out on the radio right now. If you're Antifa and you're so bad, look at my schedule. In fact, I know where I'll be on November 4th. I'll be in New York. Come to New York and confront me and watch what happens. Oh, yeah, I got something for you. See, what Antifa's going to learn, folks, is that we're not afraid of them. And that's what the left are learning. And that's what they're afraid of.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
What's up, everybody? Kevin Jackson here. It's a Kevin Jackson Show. Glad you're with me. Oh, my goodness. We're having so much fun today. We're talking about Harvey Weinstein. We're talking about Donald Trump and all the things that he's accomplished. We talked about the new Black Panther movie that's coming out. Superhero, a brother. We talked about the NFL, their ratings, cultural Marxism. What's been off? What have we not talked about, man? Everything's on the block today. Everything. And there's still more to talk about. Harvey Weinstein, get used to that name. Get used to saying it, rubbing it in the face of the left. And let me tell you what else you can rub in their faces. The fact that you have a warrior for president. Let me tell you, there are so many people right now. I'll stop hitting that microphone. There are so many people right now who are saying things like, Donald Trump makes me a little bit queasy when he says these things. Get over yourselves, you little princesses and pansies. The fact of the matter that Donald Trump is putting his foot, his jackboot on the throat of the left should have you giggling like a little girl is getting to date the football players. You know what I'm saying? You should be excited. You should be gleeful, giddy, quite in fact. As Sharpton would say, I'm jitty, up in here, jitty. You should be giddy. Tingling up and down your legs, Chris, what's his face? What's his name? Chris Wallace? Chris Matthews? Chris Matthews. You should be just beaming. This is the best time of your life. Politically, anyway. Holy cow. You've been getting your butt kicked. You have bruises on your people like, what's up with your butt? You can't even wear a bikini, girl. Not a string bikini. Dude, you can't wear no Speedos. People are like, listen, Kevin, seems like what's that on your butt? It looks kind of blue and purple. That's why I've been getting my butt kicked. You white folks, you see it even worse. You've been getting crushed by the left. And now you're so used to losing when Donald Trump does something really good. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he needs to leave the football players alone. I don't know if he should comment on Weinstein. Donald Trump, maybe he shouldn't be talking about nuclear stuff with North Korea. Hey, by the way, where's that Russia investigation, Special Counsel Mueller? Where's that going? Does Donald Trump seem concerned as he continues to dismantle Obamacare? What are your thoughts, people? Are you happy that Donald Trump is dismantling Obamacare? Or do you wish it was still there, John McCain? I don't know. I'm just curious. Why are you not celebrating more? Why are you not in the face of leftists? Why are you still running in this mode of, I don't know, I'm afraid. Donald Trump, he's still saying and doing things that are really kind of weird. Who cares? Is he getting results? Donald Trump took a piece of your swampland and he built it up, added some dirt, put in some levees, put in a drainage system, some pumps to pump it out, whatever. You're sitting up on the top of the hill. He put a concrete slab over the top of it, had the Corps of Engineers come in to make sure it would never flood again. And then he built you a big fat tower on it and got you occupancy at 99%. And you're still wondering what he can do for you. What's your problem? I don't mean to get preachy, but sometimes I need to. Sometimes y'all need some tough love from Kevin Jackson. That's why you listen to this show. I'm educating you on how the system works. The system has been corrupt. It has been beating you down left and right, up and down, side to side, you name it, from the toe, what does my sister say? From the floor up to the toe up. She doesn't say that. She says when you're ugly that you toe up from the floor up. I know that. I'm just messing with y'all. But you're getting beat up from all directions. And I'm trying to give you some sanity in all of this. You don't run from a fight. Quit running from a fight. Act like you're a first responder and get in a fight. Making me mad. Y'all are too slow to react. I'm not lecturing all of you. Some of you are in the fight. You're doing stuff. You're saying, Kevin, I'll promote your work. I'll go out and get your book, Race Pimping. Get it at racepimping.com, by the way. You're telling me, Kevin, I'll promote your radio show. I'll tweet out your articles. I'll do whatever it takes, bro. Good. Okay, then do beyond that. Get in the face of these leftists. Oh, Donald Trump's a racist. Really? How's he a racist? These football players, really? So Donald Trump, so all the footballers are racist, right? A group that employs 70% black folks. The only thing that employs 70% black people is prison. And y'all talking about the racism. Shut up. Crack me up with this nonsense. Racist. He's a misogynist. Really? Holy mother of Weinstein. Will somebody please explain to me the definition of misogynist? Because I'm looking at Harvey Weinstein and I'm looking at all these lily-livered leftists that said nothing. And I'm asking myself, who's the real fraud here? Will the real fraud, Frady, please stand up? Please stand. You guys don't get that reference of Eminem's side. Why waste it? Why waste it? The Slim Shadys. That was Eminem's first hit. Slim Shady. You know, the fakes. The fakes, the Slim Shadys are the people in Hollywood who are fakers. All these people now coming out talking about, oh, Weinstein, I didn't know, but now that I know, he's despicable. And the ones that knew, well, I just didn't feel like it was my place to say something or whatever. Yeah, whatever. I don't know what your excuse was for not outing Weinstein and others, because there are more that are still lurking out there, and every single one of them. Let me tell you something, folks. You want a little dirty secret from Hollywood? It doesn't matter who comes out next. You know what they're going to say? I just didn't feel like it was my place to say it. Alyssa Milano comes out and says, I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to disrespect Harvey Weinstein's wife. Really? So you respected her by not saying, hey, Harvey, tried to lick me in the naughty bits or whatever. That's how you respect a woman. I get it. I understand how Hollywood and leftists label respect. Yeah, I get it. And I bet you get it too. It's called being a hypocrite. See, Hollywood doesn't like to use that word on themselves, but they're Hollywood hypocrites, liars to their rotten cores. And any leftist, any Democrat that's out there that votes for this nonsense, that's what you're voting for. Don't try to hide it. Don't try to, with Donald Trump, he did, so Colbert, with Donald Trump, he did this. You're going to compare what Donald Trump said in a tape and what every Holly weirdo's done probably 10 times in his life, and you want to say Donald Trump talking about it is the equivalent of what Harvey Weinstein did? Nice try, Stephen Colbert. No wonder all you suckers are losing audience at late night, quote, talk show, because it ain't late night comedy. That's for sure. We've let all this stuff slip away. We as conservatives. And for you people that want to, why do we got to be so mean? We got to be mean because we've been mean too for decades. And I don't know about you, but I'm getting even. Till I get even, I ain't even letting up. Listen to Kevin Jackson back in the day.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177, or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
All right, everybody. Welcome back. Kevin Jackson. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. KJRadio.com. Chicago, still as deadly as ever. I mean, if you could actually compare the Chicago murders to the Harvey Weinstein sexual harassment, I mean, it probably is along the same lines. Harvey Weinstein on the weekend molested 13 women. 3 of them were raped. I'm just saying, the dude he's a menace. He's a menace. And Harvey, during party season, oh my gosh, can you imagine? Courtney Love said when Harvey would go up, don't go to the hotel with Harvey. When he said come back to the after party, yeah, you were the party. Remember those Bugs Bunny commercials where they go, the natives are having a cookout, and you'd show up and the little dude, they put him in the pot and he'd think, oh, this is a really good thing that the natives are doing for me. Then they'd start cutting in the onions and the carrots and the celery. That's what Harvey did. Harvey, he get you back to the hotel, pop open, to come out of nowhere, man. Harvey would come out of nowhere in that robe, butt naked, with a bottle of champagne. Pop. Hello, I'm Harvey. I can only imagine the surprise on some of these people's faces. and Harvey is not, he's not a well-built man. You know what I mean? It isn't like he came out there and you were like, hey, Harvey, been working out. So I like the glutes. You were like, whoa. Imagine a dude that's built like Harvey. Look, I'm not trying to cast aspersions or anything, but can you imagine Harvey's, hey, listen, I'd like you to watch me shower. Why? Orca? Why in the heck would I want to watch you shower? What part of your brain thinks is the narcissism. You think the dude's a Chippendale dancer. Harvey's a big old, he looks like Shrek. Why do I want to watch Shrek shower? Holy cow, man. Unbelievable. I guess I should probably go into the Lisa Bloom thing. I was going to talk about Chicago. I'll talk about Chicago. If we get to it, I'll talk about Chicago. So Lisa Bloom apparently tried to pay off Rose McGowan. Because the reason why I'm bringing this up is we're talking about Harvey, and I was conjuring up the idea of watching a big, fat, Shreky looking dude shower. Look, I don't care if you're fat. I love fat. I got fat people in my family. I love them to death. My little boy, my oldest son, he was fat. When he was a kid, he was fat. He was a total little butterball. Loved him. He thinned out. Beautiful, handsome dude now. Svelte, built. All of them. But I got cousins overweight. I love them to death, man. Shoot, I got no issue. I think women look beautiful in all shapes and sizes. Seriously, I told you guys, I think Anna Nicole was amazing. She could be a size, say 6 or 8, and she could be a size 28. She kept her curves. She's dumber than a box of rocks. I get it. But I just thought, from a looks perspective, you get a woman that can maintain her shape through that whole cycle. That's impressive. Not pick up the stomach and start getting the big handles and all that stuff. And again, if you're built that way, love yourself. I don't worry about Kevin Jackson. Love your doggone self. Because I promise you, I love you. I ain't trying to get with you. You know what I mean? I love you. It doesn't matter to me. We all have our preferences. They said now, what they call the man body, the house husband body is in. Like women don't like the built dudes. I find that hard to believe, but supposedly that's what women say. Guys, we work hard to I know I do, keep the 6-pack and all that. Getting older too is tough to do, but they say women love the cherub. There you go. All my fat friends I used to tease in school, now they're in. I'm out and they're in. So there you go. Anyway, the question is, did Lisa Bloom, the spokesperson / attorney at some point for Harvey, approach McGowan's literary agent about getting Rose McGowan to publicly support sexual criminal Harvey Weinstein? And this story came out in the Daily Mail. It said Bloom was working for Weinstein as his rep before resigning following the scandal. McGowan claims she was raped by Weinstein during the 1997 Sundance Film Festival and has stated that she did not sign a non-disclosure agreement after she made a settlement. Now, I think the settlement was for like $100,000 or something like that. But according to her, she didn't sign a non-disclosure. So come get your money, whatever. But the Daily Mail said this. You know what is truth, Lisa? I feel like people should know that you've been calling my literary agent and saying there'd be money for me if I got on the Harvey changed bandwagon. That's what she wrote. Now, I believe this. I believe Harvey was so desperate. He was like, if I could just get a couple of these girls to say good things about me and denounce. It'll give me some, window of credibility to come back. I can hear this man saying this, even though I don't even know what he sounds like. She goes on to say this. You told her that I should care about his reputation, how he has a family now, how he has changed. Well, guess what? I've always had a family, and that didn't stop him from assaulting me. Now, here's what I will say. I'll say this. Sexual assault, when I was a kid growing up, or, young adult, I always thought of it as, I thought of it as rape. And I've learned that, if it's even, with objects and things like that, they still consider that rape or what have you. But like this guy, Terry Crews, that said a guy sexually assaulted him. He's this big black dude that's in the movies. And he said, yeah, this Hollywood producer sexually assaulted me. I was like, what? I'm thinking, holy cow, man, it's really rampant in Hollywood. And they're taking on big black dudes like Terry Crews. And then it turns out the guy walks up and grabs him in the crotch. Now, that's completely nonsensical for somebody to come up and grab you in the crotch. It's equivalent of somebody, in football, they slap you on the butt. Right? You get out there and go be somebody. And you slap your coach. I can tell you, my coaches, if they charge sexual assault for every time somebody slapped me on the butt, all my coaches would be in jail because they grab me shoulder pad, get in the game, you go run this play, Jackson, boom, slap me on the butt and go out there. And these were Marine Corps drill instructors. I don't think they really wanted me. So, but that actually is sexual assault. So it's a strange thing. I just think that we've overstepped. It's liberalism, he accidentally brushed up against my breast and, it was sexual assault. I guess it was. Yes, it was indeed. So it's overworked like everything. Racism. Oh, man. One time I heard this dude and he said, pass the vinegar, and I was like, completely stressed out over it. So that's where we are now. But anyway, Bloom denies that she reached out to McGowan's literary agent, saying she doesn't even know who the agent is, and saying that she never offered her money. But McGowan says, you offered me $6 million to speak up for Harvey. I believe it. I firmly believe this is exactly the type of thing these people would do. They think they can buy their way out of anything. Leftists think money solves problems. And if Harvey got away with this, you can bet he would still be doing it, man. There is nothing that's going to stop this dude except the grace of God. Serious business. Nothing. Anyway, when we come back, we're going to be talking about being jailed for the most silly thing. It's a story that's been out there for a little bit, but being jailed in California for the most stupid thing I've ever heard.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. I don't think you can get any kookier than Californians. I just don't. I don't think you could get any crazier than their governor, Jerry Brown. We talked about the legislation these people propose is mind-blowing. It violates every right you have as a normal human being. You cannot look at anything that they do and just think to yourself like, well, it's just, I get it. You just can't. This story is so unbelievable. I could not make this up. I don't have the imagination. California can now start jailing people that refuse to use the preferred gender pronouns. Get this. The level of specificity here is mind-blowing. So you could be jailed if you refuse to use the preferred gender pronouns of nursing home residents. And this bill was signed into law by Governor Jerry Brown. The law's effect is limited to nursing homes and other long-term care facilities, but mandates that those who willfully and repeatedly refuse to use transgender residents' preferred names or pronouns can be fined $1,000 and serve up to a year in prison. I wanted you to marinate on that for just a second. Known as, get this, the LGBT Senior Bill of Rights. The legislation also requires nursing homes and care facilities to allow residents to use the bathroom of their choice, regardless of their biological sex. The bill's author, Senator Scott Wiener, argues that the religious views don't hold weight in public arenas. Now, this is the same guy, Scott Wiener, who asked that a bill be passed that took HIV from being a felony if you knowingly transmitted it down to being a misdemeanor. Now, I'm just going to go out on a limb here because I don't know anything about Scott Wiener, except he's got a funny name. Oh man, I bet that guy's been called I bet he's been called something else before for quite a few years, because this is what I'm thinking about the guy. Let's just say his name is Richard, as far as I'm concerned. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Scott Wiener is gay. Wait, stop making me laugh at myself. Oh my gosh. See, I talked about this the other day when we were talking about Scott Wiener's HIV legislation, which he got passed by the governor. He's obviously in the governor's pocket, and I don't know what he's doing in there, but let's just say there might be a hole in it, okay? Look, this is pathetic. This is so pathetic. This guy's a menace. And sadly, he thinks he's doing the world a favor by doing this kind of stuff. Look, I get it. Somebody's in their waning years at a senior home and it's a transgender person. I don't know how many people this legislation affects, but I don't think it's that many. I mean, this is a guy who's sitting around looking at the world through the prism of the LGBT community and going, there's one transsexual at this home, and there I noticed they called him Bill and her name is Susan or whatever. I don't know. What? How could you be thinking about this crap? You want to know how? You let them. You don't fight back. I would be pushing back. I would be like, dude, so there's what? 1,000 residents in here and there's what? One transsexual, and you want to make all the rules? I'm sorry. We're not going to do that. We're not changing the rules for you, Wiener. It's like I tell you guys, when this stupid black racist was complaining in my kid's school every PTO meeting. Well, at a school run by a black lesbian, 70% of the kids are black. When you have a school meeting, I was proud to say, lots of black parents showing up, participating in the lives of their kids, these inner city kids. I mean, it was a ghetto fest, and I ain't gonna lie about that, but they were there, and it was good. And then you get this one guy, and he's a relatively sophisticated, he's a guy, he dresses nice, spoke fluent French, and his daughter is she spoke French already. And so he's got her in the school, and every PTO meeting, well, these kids need to have the black experience, and the black this, and the black that, and the black this, black. And I'm like, shut up. These kids don't need the black experience. They get it every day. Hey, 2 blocks away, a dude got shot at a 7-Eleven. That's the black experience. That's the inner city experience. This school was in the inner city. Look, I'm not, y'all think I'm lying, I'm dying. The police headquarters was literally 200 yards away from this school, across the street on the other side of the street. On the other side of the street. The school was right there. Homeless people, y'all think, folks, I'm not lying here. It was surrounded by these various food kitchens and shelters. homeless people walking through and through. It was a safety hazard. There had to be an adult out there at all times. People, they would wake up to go to school. There would be bums laying in the cardboard. They had all this chopped up, not cardboard, like sawdust. And it was a very soft place to sleep. And so homeless people would sleep there. There wasn't a day that didn't go by that some bum wasn't urinating next to the schoolyard. I'm just putting you into perspective. This school was in the hood. And y'all like, Kevin, why would you send your son there? Because it was a French immersion school from a friend of ours. And a black lesbian lady who I happen to think was a great lady. I was like, yeah, when you get this school started, my kid's going. So we send the kid there. And this guy's complaining about black this, black that. It needs to be black. It's in a city that's Democrat, that's heavily black, 70%. I mean, I just gave you the numbers. Well, how black do you want it? I tell you what, let's go over to France and let's make everybody black. Would that help you with the French immersion black experience? It's ridiculous. So here's another special interest group, this black nationalists going, let's make everything black here. Well, you know what these gays are doing? Let's make everything gay. Blacks want to legislate on skin color, which is ridiculous. Gays want to legislate on sexuality, how they choose a sexual partner. And I'm supposed to capitulate. So if you're a white person who isn't gay, a white, not gay, I don't call them heterosexuals because not gay really makes gay people mad. So if you're a white, not gay person, then what's your cause? Where do you fit into the scheme of things? What if you're a Mexican, not gay person? Where do you fit? So, legislating with this stuff is ridiculous. I've equated it to somebody saying, I want to, there's nothing going on with people who have funky feet. And I want the funky feet legislation, I'm part of the funky feet lobby. Why'd I bring that up? Do I have funky feet? None of your business. What's that smell? Oh, one of the producers took off his shoes. We only hire people with funky feet. Well, that and Guatemalan midgets, as everybody knows. So look, the point I'm making is these people are dangerous to do this, that legislate strictly based on, my sexuality or transsexuals. What number of what possible number does this impact? We looked at the transsexual issue and I don't care. It's an aberrant behavior, period. It's aberrant. Something is wrong in your wiring. I'm not mad at you for it any more than dwarfism or, whatever. It's a physical abnormality. And I don't look at dwarfs and go, look at that. Oh my God. I just go, okay, that person has dwarfism or whatever they may call it. Little people, midgets, whatever you want to call it. I don't see them and go, make a big deal. It is what it is. But I'm not going to legislate because, everything's got to be down to the size of a dwarf. Little furniture. I'm sure there's somebody that makes little furniture for little people, and it's probably somebody from a little people perspective that goes, you don't understand our world, Kevin. You're right. I don't understand your world. But I'm not going to legislate the normal world based on that. Heck, what about NBA players? Do they need big furniture? Of course they do, but they can go get it. Big people can go get it. They got big and tall shops. Anyway, this stuff bugs me. And it should be bugging you. And this guy needs to be stopped. He's a menace. And California knows it.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177 or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's Kevin Jackson Show. I got to tell you, the things that the left focus on sometimes really perplexes me. And because it's easy to put things in perspective. So I'll give you an example. Donald Trump, they say, well, he made a comment about grabbing women by the, that women are okay sometimes with you grabbing them by the blank blank. And then you get Harvey Weinstein. And you'd think that that would be enough for them to go, okay, let's just drop the Trump thing. That's done. But they don't. Even when they're under fire, even when they know this is not good for us, guys, they still hold on. Still looking for that thing to rub into our faces. And they got no ammo. But they do it. When they talk about Black Lives Matter and the number of cops that are killing black folks for no reason, blah, 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 which, built on a lie. And then every single week, you look at the plotter for Chicago deaths. We take one city, folks, one city, Chicago, Illinois, and we can prove how much black on black crime, how much crime against black people that just happens in a normal community that dwarfs the police shootings by comparison. So the last police shooting of any note happened, this one happened before Michael Brown, but it was the Anthony Lamar Smith because the verdict came after. That's been 2 months ago. And not another black person has been killed controversially that I'm aware of, because we certainly would know some city would be burning if we knew about it, right? But in the meantime, every single day, and particularly they reported every single weekend, the Chicago Tribune reports on the deaths that happen in one city. And in that one city, in one weekend, there are more blacks killed by other blacks for silly, stupid reasons than all the cops killing of blacks in a decade that are controversial. And the left says nothing. So this weekend, 8 individuals were killed. This last weekend, 8 individuals were killed in Chicago and 11 wounded. And this is CBS Chicago. They say one of the deceased was a 64-year-old woman who was struck by a stray bullet in the Rogers Park neighborhood on the north side. She was hit around 6:30 p.m. Math teacher at Chicago Waldorf School. Doing nothing. Innocent victim of some senseless crime, probably fought over because of drugs or prostitution or whatever. Gang related. Who knows? They said the rest of the weekend, I'm reading this, was full of more typical Chicago gun violence and gun deaths. The killing of an unidentified 22-year-old man Sunday, 11:10 a.m. This is in the morning. Probably going to church is a case in point. He was walking on the sidewalk in the 6700 block of South Jeffrey when 2 males exited a Ford car nearby and opened fire. The man suffered gunshot wounds to the chest, arm, and back of his head, was pronounced dead at the scene less than 30 minutes later. 2 black males in gray clothing. That's all they got. The weekend violence brings the number of Chicago homicides to 558 for 2017. They listed the overall number of shootings in Chicago, 3,014 for 2017, and that's through the October 15th. So there have been over 3,000 shootings, well over 500 deaths, approaching 600. It will hit 600, undoubtedly. It isn't going to hit the 715 of last year, more than likely. They said nearly 800 were shot and killed in Chicago during 2016, 4,400 shooting victims. So they're going to call this a good year. More than one person dying, almost 2 people dying per day in Chicago, and they're going to say, it was a very good year. It was a good year. God, it amazes me. But you know what the left are fixated on? The NFL players taking a knee. They're taking a knee. And I could go on with the insanity of everything that these people are going to talk about. Bo Bergdahl's back in the news. You guys hear this story? Bo Bergdahl. Here, let's play the clip.
Now to that ABC News exclusive. Army Sergeant Bo Bergdahl is talking to cameras for the first time since being released by the Taliban after he was captured walking off a combat outpost in Afghanistan. That was 8 years ago. Well, this morning he is expected to plead guilty to charges of desertion and endangering his fellow soldiers at Fort Bragg. Our chief investigative correspondent Brian Ross is here with much more on all this. Good morning, Brian.
Well, good morning, Robin. Sergeant Bergdahl is expected to enter his guilty plea to desertion charges during a court-martial hearing that begins this morning at Fort Bragg. In an exclusive TV interview this morning, Bergdahl says it would be impossible to get a fair trial given the words of candidate Donald Trump, who is now his commander-in-chief.
My name is Bo Bergdahl.
Bo Bergdahl had been held 5 years by the Taliban when he was released in this dramatic moment. Squinting in the sunlight after being confined to a cage by his captors, U.S. Special Forces were there for the handover. As Bergdahl was gaining his freedom, the U.S. was releasing 5 Taliban prisoners from Guantanamo as part of a prisoner swap, a deal that became a highly politicized issue, especially given that Bergdahl had walked off his post without permission and that at least 2 soldiers were seriously injured during the search to find him.
He's a traitor, a no-good traitor, who should have been executed.
Now in his first on-camera interview, obtained exclusively by ABC News, Bergdahl says the words of candidate Trump would have made a fair trial impossible.
We may as well go back to kangaroo courts and lynch mobs that got what they wanted.
Bing, boom, he's gone.
The people who are to the point of saying, yeah, just shoot him, you can never convince those people to change their minds. And
it hurts, though.
It does hurt.
Bergdahl told British filmmaker Sean Langan, himself held by the same Taliban group, that he wants to fight back against what he calls the false reports that he was a traitor.
And had declared himself a, quote, mujahid, or warrior for Islam.
It's insulting. It's very insulting, the idea that they will think I did it.
In fact, according to Army officials, Bergdahl twice tried to escape from his captivity and was severely punished, beaten, and put in a cage like an animal.
It's a cage that was welded together. It's about 7 foot long by about 6 foot wide.
And how long were you in that cage for?
2nd, 3rd, 4th, and into the 5th year.
Now that he plans to plead guilty, the question for the military will be, what punishment does Sergeant Bergdahl deserve, including possible prison?
Well, welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. Do we really know the truth about Bergdahl? I don't know. Did the guy really walk away from his unit? What happened? And there's a part of me that doesn't care outside of the fact that I know some people died looking for him. Did he get treated with respect? I don't know. But here's what I will tell you. I'm talking about by the Taliban or whoever captured him. But here's what I do know. His dad was an avowed Muslim. The dude spoke Arabic if I hadn't seen a video and you told me that dude just said that, I would have been like, no, shut up, quit joking. He didn't just say that. Did you hear him when he was talking about the different things and the traditions of it? So as they say, the apple doesn't land too far from the tree. I have to believe that his dad had a big influence on his thoughts around the Taliban or the people fighting against us. I'll put it to you this way. My 4th son, to say something, okay, so I'll give you a good example. My 4th son is a big-time Stephen Curry fan. And I told him Stephen Curry refused to go to the White House because he doesn't like President Trump. Now, his older brother had given him a present, a Christmas present, that was a Stephen Curry jersey that this kid adores, loved this jersey. After I told him that, my son, I'm not exaggerating this one bit, he comes in, he says, Dad. I said, yeah, buddy. He goes, you think Corey will get mad if I burn Stephen Curry's shirt? And I go, I said, son, I don't think you need to go that far. And, he goes, I'm not wearing it anymore. He goes, he disrespected the president. This kid, you want to talk about a chip off the block? Half the time I should let him do my show. Other than his voice, his little naughty bits haven't dropped. You wouldn't even know. He is a dyed-in-the-wool, right-thinking, free-thinking individual that knows how to think for himself. I promise you, do I influence him? Heck yeah. But he knows how to think for himself. And I'm proud of that. So I look at Bergdahl and I go, what are you talking about? This dude probably did exactly what they said. Now he wants to blame us. I didn't do that. They're telling you lies. But again, what can we believe? The only thing I can say is Barack Obama trading 5 really bad guys for him, bad move. There's no way you can rationalize that. Not anyway. Even if it's my kid, I would say, how do we trade 5 bad guys for 1? We can get a better deal. And there are many other elements of this story that don't add up, but they don't add up for Bergdahl. If he was just a captured soldier, this country would rally around him, and the media certainly didn't indicate that it was anything more than a traitor.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.